Welcome. This is your Wish Upon a Star lunar horoscope for Monday, that's June 2nd, 2021. The last quarter moon, or the third quarter moon, are the same thing, will be voyaging through the sign of Pisces the fish, bringing personal discovery, and that's going to come from your dreams and your dream time. So the personal realizations you're going to have are going to come from your when you dream at night, and also your vision quests. Also, it's going to give you an ability to ground both yourself and other people, which Pisces is very good at, and that's grounding people into the 3D, three-dimensional physical reality. Also, this quarter moon in last quarter moon in Pisces, or third quarter moon in Pisces, is going to give you also a talent for being able to read between the lines, so that you know what people actually mean. It'll give you pragmatism, and it'll give you an insightful psychic aptitude, a lot of clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience. Now, the last quarter moon is also known to be a waning half moon. Again, it's third quarter or last quarter or waning half moon, all the same thing. And that's doing this June 2021 cycle. This decreasing half moon occurs while transiting the 27th mansion of the moon. That's going to happen at 7:25 a.m. in the morning. And that's using universal time coordinated, and we're using tropical astrology as well. All right, now Luna's activation of Lunar Mansion number 27 during this waning half moon at 50% light is very potent and very persuasive for performing receptive magic spells and also rituals. Now, Mansion of the Moon number 27 is in effect from the early evening on June 1st at 5 o'clock p.m. until the evening of June 2nd, and that's at 5:59 p.m. That's for the mansion. Okay, that's for mansion number 27. And with the waning half moon occurring in Pisces at 7:25 a.m. in the morning, Lunar Mansion number 27 is magically activated at the exact time of the last quarter moon in Pisces. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. I'm a Rosicrucian seer, biblical astrologer, Christian psychic, and Gnostic mystic. And this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. Now, Luna will be in Pisces from 4 degrees, 17 minutes, and 9 seconds to Pisces, the sign of Pisces, at 17 degrees, 8 minutes, and 34 seconds. That's according to Abraham. That's the margins of the 27th mansion, according to Abraham. And the stars to wish upon inside the 27th mansion of the moon, Alpheratz, are named Algenib and Alpheratz, that dwell in the constellation of Pegasus, the winged horse Pegasus. And that's it's also that Alpheratz is what the nomenclature is for lower spout of the water bucket. So this has to do with the mutable water sign of Pisces the fish, yes? All right, now this is according to Christopher Warnock. Now, ask the angel of Gamma Pegasi. Remember, it's the constellation of Pegasus, so Gamma Pegasi, and also Alpha and Andromedae. Okay, Alpha Andromedae. So there's some overlap, of course, because as you know, the story where you have Perseus the hero in the Greek legends. Perseus the hero uses the white winged horse Pegasus, of one of the horses of Zeus, to save Andromeda from Calipos. And this is why Andromeda, Alpha Andromeda, is close to Gamma Pegasi. It comes from these legends. Some of these come from Greek legends and from other legends as well. So the angel for these two stars, Gamma Pegasi and Alpha Andromeda, that angel is named Alheniel. And ask Alheniel during this mansion to increase harvests and heal ailments or heal any kind of sicknesses that you might have, or that you'd like to petition Alheniel to heal for people that you care for also. Ask their permission first, okay? Now, sorceresses and sorcerers create representations during this mansion to reap rewards, to create gainful yields, to accumulate money, to grow inventory, again, to cure sickness, to obliterate the treasures of others, and to stop development of structures, to bring trouble to sailors, and lengthen the sentences of detainees. Now, some of these things that magicians do, some are good, and some might seem that they're not good, but it's all from your point of view. So if you lengthen the sentence of a detainee, someone who's been captured and detained, if you're on the side of the person who thinks that this person is guilty of something and should be detained, then that would seem good to you, if it's convenient for you. If you're a person who feels you've been, or someone you know and love has been illegally or unjustly detained, then you would think that this is evil. So again, it's whatever is convenient for you and yours, because there's two sides of the same coin, but these are the functions during these mansions, and they're ancient, and you need to know them because they're being used on you daily by all of the higher powers that be, the humans and the people who are extremely powerful are using these. It's been being used since ancient times, and whether it was through plays or ritual, or in more modern times through storytelling, through writing, through describing things, again, storytelling, or in books, or in plays, or in movies, or TV shows, or commercials, or social media, or just what people talk about when you go to a religious ceremony or whatever. It's in the rituals, in the religious ceremonies. It's all coming from these lunar mansions, all of it. All of your religious iconography, the stories, all come from the lunar mansions if you go back far enough and you look at what actually is going on in the story. So whether you think from your point of view or from the point of view of those you care for good or bad, for benefit or ill, these are being used daily on you, so you might as well know what they are, and you might as well use them upon yourself and for those you care about to do you the most good. From your point of view, what is good for you, and what is good for you and your family or those you care about or your tribe or your community. All right, because this will make you able to help yourself and those you care for. It's very important. Now, magicians also use Alpheratz to annihilate an enemy's water wells, fountains, or water sources using a rendering of an angel or a winged human holding a chalice, which is perforated in many places so that the water runs out in many narrow directions. Agrippa reveals Mansion of the Moon number 27 as being named Al-Charya or Al-Halgal-Moad, being the second drawing, which not only allows for ritual talismans to be created for the purposes already mentioned, but also to cast mischief and trouble upon anyone that you will. Again, this is being done to you, so you might as well understand it and take proper measures to make these things work for you and yours. To further add to the potency of the talisman meant to demolish aquifers and water supplies, Agrippa discloses that ancient magicians constructed the image of a human with wings, carrying a punctured cup or vase, using red clay, which they did burn with fire. So like something that like when you make pottery and you burn it in the furnace in order to make a red clay, some kind of a container. That's what they're talking about. And placing in this red clay vase or container, placing asafoetida and and also liquid storax into the container. The conjurers then inundated the vessel deep into the water source they willed to cause ruin to come to that well or that water source. Okay, so again, people use these kinds of techniques, and they use it against their enemies. And you need to know when they do it and how they do it. And it's also not just done physically. It can be done through pictures, through stories, through ritual, through TV shows, through commercials, through social media, through emails, through sending you letters, and telling you a story. If you go to your place of worship, they can tell you in a story. And it can be written in your holy stories in a certain way, because it all comes from very ancient sources. Okay, it all comes from very ancient sources. A lot of the iconography you think is particular to one religion or the other. They're just choosing a lunar mansion and using the iconography from that mansion and running with it. Okay, that's what's going on. Now, according to Kabbalistic lore, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Pisces' birthstone is aquamarine. Rosaries and amulets using aquamarine for Pisces are magically potent for this praxis. Kabbalistic and alchemical planetary associations, in this instance of a waning half moon in Pisces, whilst transiting through lunar mansion number 27, could be utilized with perfumes, essential oils, herbs, or flowers, as well as various colors that go with this, these particular aspects. Okay? The alchemical and planetary aspects. Now, the Jovian, Jupiter and Neptune, the Jovian alchemical metal of tin is both practical and workable for this operation. Now, warning, Neptunium is toxic, which is the one for Neptune. So tin for Jupiter, Neptunium for Neptune. Now, the Jovian metal for Jupiter of tin is practical and workable, and it's fine to use for making of a talisman. But the warning about the Neptunium for Neptune is toxic and radioactive. Therefore, the absorption or ingestion of Neptune's alchemical metal of Neptunium can cause poisoning and radiation sickness. Now, Neptunium should only be handled by individuals with the knowledge, talent, and licensing to do so. Agrippa mentions that for Mansion of the Moon number 27, the ancients traditionally made a red clay emblem of the rendering of an angel or winged human holding forth a chalice possessing many holes which have been punctured so that the water contained therein shall run out in many various narrow directions. This icon was created as a magical talisman for Mansion of the Moon Al-Farg-Al-Thani, also named Al-Charya or Al-Halgal-Moad, for the explicit purpose of causing the annihilation of water sources. It's important to note here that according to Vivian Irwood Robson, author of the book The Fixed Stars and Constellations in Astrology, Ptolemy gives the precise planetary attributes of Mars and Mercury to the star Algenib, which is located specifically at the edge of the white flying horse's wing. In regards to the planetary nature of the area of the constellation of Pegasus that we're addressing here, okay, in that winged portion. Okay. Now, the alchemical metal of Mars is iron, and the alchemical metal of Mercury is quicksilver or mercury. While iron is pragmatic and effective for this praxis, quicksilver is not. Mars' corresponding metal of iron can be therapeutic for people with low amounts of iron in their blood, though it should neither be ingested nor injected into individuals with too high of a measure of the element in their bloodstream. Now, since In the making of talismans, the metal is neither ingested nor injected. Iron is workable for this task. We're not using this. We're not physicians. We're not using, although I'm a registered nurse, we're not physicians. We're not prescribing this for people's iron counts. That's for a physician to do. This is for making a jeweler, to make a rosary, or to make a ring, or a necklace, or a bracelet, or to make an amulet, okay? An amulet. So, you know, for magical purposes. That's what our purpose is. So iron is perfectly safe for our purposes here. Now, regarding the alchemical metal of quicksilver, on the other hand, it's associated with mercury. This liquid metal is also neither workable nor usable for this operation, since it also has a toxicity. Now, the warning here is that it can cause mercury poisoning. Okay, it's also liquid metal at room temperature. So how are you going to use that to make a rosary, unless you know, put it into some kind of a container or something, and you know. But again, it's toxic, and you should not use it because it could give you mercury poisoning. So you should not use it. Now, the star Alpheratz is located in the head of the princess Andromeda, and Andromeda is the chained princess who was sacrificed to the monstrous sea beast Cetus and rescued by the hero Perseus, as we mentioned. Now, the Greek astronomer Ptolemy assigns the qualities of Jupiter and Venus to the star Alpheratz. As we have already mentioned earlier, the alchemical metal of tin associated with Jupiter is both sensible and realistic for this operation. The alchemical metal of Venus, being copper, is also practical and useful for this function. So, given that one of the most recommended alchemical metals among Kabbalists for the sign of Pisces is tin, because of its Kabbalistic Jupiterian correspondence, along with Ptolemy's assignment of Jupiter as an association for the star Alpheratz, tin is a superb selection for fashioning a rosary chain, an amulet base, or magical jewelry setting during mansion of the moon, Alpheratz. Now, aquamarine being the gem of choice, best suited for use as rosary beads, amulet ornamentations, and jewelry gems for Piscean correspondence used for the duration of Lunar Mansion, Alpheratz. This blue sky, sort of sky blue beryl gemstone would make a potent rosary, amulet, or piece of jewelry when affixed with Jupiter's alchemical metal of tin. In view of the fact that Agrippa recommends red clay as a correct material to use when creating a talisman to obliterate aquifers and other water resources, one could craft a creative magical talisman rendering an image of any of the probable outcomes we listed earlier for use in Lunar Mansion Alpheratz. Now, some of these magical results conjured are profitable and others are mischievous. Nevertheless, the alchemical metals recommended by Ptolemy for the stars of Algenib and Alpheratz have many applications which a knowledgeable sorceress or sorcerer is able to perform and form magical, to create very potent and powerful magical talismans. Okay? Now, Jupiterian correspondences are good for expansion and growth. So using Jupiter will give you results that are good for expansion and growth, while Venusian copper, if you use that for your rosary chain or your jewelry setting or your amulet base, copper Venusian associations produce adoration, love, as well as possessing a poisonous nature, because you know on the other side of love can be love sick, you understand? And martial qualities generate competitiveness and combat. We've given ample information for effective talismans to be made whatever the magician's desired application. Keep in mind, that the number assigned to each mansion of the moon may vary, reliant upon the cultural and astrological attributes of the system being used. What pinpoints the exact lunar mansion to which we are referring and giving you these correspondences for is made clear by the use of the star to be wished upon, as well as by the name of the indicated mansion of the moon. Other Kabbalistic correspondences for lunar mansion number 27 are as follows. Moon in Pisces, Luna gives the fish a sensible quality and a fantastic voyage through supernatural dimensional spheres, a capacity to stand strong with both feet planted firmly on earth, and a number of well-developed skill sets good for comprehending covert hints. The fish also enjoys a shrewd telepathic capacity. Planetary archangel for Luna or the moon is Gabriel. God is my strength, power of God, and a messenger of God. Zodiac angels for Pisces, the angel's name is Amnitziel, whose divine tone is I believe. Tarot card for Luna or the moon is the High Priestess card, who sits between the pillars of Joachim and Boaz in the temple, holding the Torah scroll in her hands. Torah or Torah and tarot. The tarot is for the right brain, the Torah is for the left brain, so that it goes in. All right, now, the musical note in the ancient Western array for the moon or Luna is F. This is a musical note for the moon. I'm going to play that for you now. That is F, and that is for the moon. And the tarot card for the sign of Pisces the fish is the moon card. The moon card is for Pisces the fish, with the two dogs, or the wolves, or the wolf and the dog, howling at the moon between those pillars, with a crayfish crawling up out of the ocean, and the moon, and you can see the yuds from the moon. That is the moonlight and the yuds from the moon. Did you know that in the Eastern religions, the moon is considered male and is considered to be the essence of the male, and the sun is considered female? So it's the correspondences of passive and active are opposite, and moon and sun are opposite in the East than they are in the West. So just understand that. And also opposite in many of the Egyptian correspondences and in the Hindu correspondences. Understand that. Now, also, the musical note in the ancient Western array for Pisces, the fish, is B. B. And we're going to play that for you now. Okay. B, and that is for Pisces. Now, the reference books we're going to give you here in a minute so that you can check the exact references that we're going to give you, the page numbers, if you want to use it for some kind of project or do this research on your own. And also, we're going to, in the description box, we have also a blog that goes with this video that you can see how all these words are spelled, because some of the spellings might seem difficult. And we'll give you that in a minute, but the information that's found in the document attached in the description box and in this video is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, which was taught to me by Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I've committed to memory. Now, much of the information about star magic was also taught to me through an adjacent German pagan coven, which had established satellite covens throughout the world. I was in an American coven. I began writing a book based upon these extremely important teachings in 1988, which I have entitled to be My Star Magic Grimoire. So I'm going to give you the reference books now that I use so that you can see that my sources have, you can see my sources you can check them out in the library, or you can buy them online. And the first one is Mansions of the Moon, a lunar zodiac for astrology and magic, second edition, with 2019 to 2033 Mansion Ephemeris, written by Christopher Warnock in 2019, also illustrated by Nigel Jackson, and published by Renaissance Astrology in 2019. And you can get the page numbers in the description box. Click on my blog, the page numbers are there. Yet that ephemeris is so important if you're going to do anything with lunar mansions. And this kind of magic is the most powerful you will ever run across. That's why the media uses it, Hollywood uses it, the churches use it. It's been used since ancient times. The religions use it. That's why they use it, because it works and it's powerful. It's very powerful, and it works very quickly, and the reaction from it comes back at you very quickly. So if you feel guilty about anything you're doing, do not do it, because it will come right back at you with lunar mansions, because the moon travels quickly. All right? You must be pristine and know that you have absolutely no guilt and no fear, or it will hurt you. You need to understand that. If you have no fear and no guilt, it won't hurt you. And it's proportional to how much fear and guilt is the amount of pain you'll experience. Okay? So just use it for good that you would want to happen to you, because it's going to, unless somebody has gotten beyond fear and guilt, but then if they've gotten beyond fear and guilt, they know they're doing something good for the whole, or something, or good for themselves, or good for their family, or something, okay, that would make them have no fear and no guilt. So understand that. Okay, now the second book, 3 books of occult philosophy, Llewellyn Sourcebook series, authored by Henry Cornelius Agrippa of Nettisham in 1533, translated by James Freak in 1650, edited and annotated by Donald Tyson, one of my favorite authors. I have a lot of his books. 1993, published in 2000 by Llewellyn Publications, another one of my favorite publishers. Now, the third book, The Fixed Stars and Constellations in Astrology, authored by Vivian E. Robson, a Bachelor of Science in 1923, published by American Federation of Astrologers, Inc., cover design by Jack Coppola. Again, you can check on the blog for the page numbers. Thank you so much for joining us. We're doing one of these every week for the half moons and also the new and the full moon. So the waning and the waxing half moons, and the new and the full moon each month. And we're also doing the lunar eclipses that'll be mixed in with these, but also separate the solar eclipses, of which there is one this month. So check it out. And also the solstices and the equinoxes, of which the summer solstice is coming up. So check our video out on that too. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again.